Ghouls of the Pit. Tonight we have Adam Gomez. Or is it Gomez Adams? No, it's Adam Gomez from the Dickies. Sir, thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. And by the way, it's usually Gomez Adams. That's what I was called in school and everything my whole life, and I like it. So
that's fun. Every time I say, I was thinking, well, it's like if I was reading his name in a phone book, if they even exist anymore, that's the first thing I would thought of, like Gomez Adams. Oh, okay, well, why not?
Yeah. The only subtle difference is my first name is just with one D, right? Like Adams is with the two D's, the Adams family. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I'm as creepy as Gomez, pretty much. I just try not to show it.
But do you get turned on by the French? I mean, let's ask the question. So French do it for you.
Yeah, not so much. So I guess that's where we differ. It's more gimps for me and American gimps.
There we go.
Well, you're a big horror fan, aren't you, Adam?
Yeah, I do. I dig it.
You've done work with the soundtrack for Killer Klowns from Outer Space. How did you get involved in that?
Not funny story, but I guess interesting. Well, because I'm with the Dickies, right? They are eternally tied to the B horror movie franchise with Killer Klowns from Outer Space, right?
Right.
So, before I even joined the band, I think it's always been an ongoing thing with maybe MGM or the Kudos brothers that wrote and directed the film. I think they were always up for doing a sequel, or always pushing to kind of keep it alive, even though it kind of took on a life of its own anyway. But still, it's, if you don't have the creators pushing for it, then what the hell, man. But I guess what they were working on was maybe like getting it onto Netflix. Not the original, because the original was on Netflix, but doing like a sequel and getting it on Netflix or something like that. And I don't know if like MGM sold the rights or whatever, but it was like this big old up in the air, in all directions, people trying to figure out what was going to happen with the rights of the movie. And at that same time, I think Masari was talking about reimagining his score, the original score to that movie, right? So I don't know who we worked with to reimagine all this, all the scoring part, but he had hit us up to redo track, the Killer Klowns track, right? The title track by the Dickies. So we ended up doing that. And from that, I met John. He was just a cool dude, and I would chat with him and I'd ask him questions because I loved the movie, and I kind of just approached him as a movie nerd or a fanboy, but he's a cool dude. So we just kept chatting and chatting. And one day he just asked me, he's like, would you want to try doing, one of these tracks? And actually it didn't have to do with Killer Klowns at first. It had to do with him putting something on Extreme Music, and which is like a database of scores. And it was like a Christmas track. And it was really cool. It was called Wild Spruce Chase. And it was very complex, and it was very wild. And I had a friend of mine help me with that to get it recorded and stuff. But it just kind of progressed from there. Then he started thinking about doing another version of his score to Killer Klowns. And that involved like guitars and more of a metal sense to it, like a metal kind of feel and sound to it. So he started calling me up to do those. And that was really cool. So I don't know what's going on with that right now. Like I know it's still in the works, but I think I did 7 or 8 tracks with him.
That's wicked.
Yeah. So that's basically how it was, like a subtle kind of bleed into Masari's life. That's how I got in.
Gotcha.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, the fanboy side of Killer Klowns has to be amazing. Like if you're already a fan and then you get that nod to go and do something like that, it's got to be pretty incredible.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's how it's been for me with everything, every opportunity I've gotten, really, like the bands I've played for. It's not like I didn't know who they were. I mean, I grew up they were like part of the teenage backdrop to my life, you know, to my teenage life. They're the soundtrack, you know, and including, you know, Killer Klowns, and then, you know, there's the Dickies, there's Adolescence, there's DI, and all those bands I grew up listening to. So once I had an opportunity to somehow get involved with them, it's just like, oh my God, am I really here? Am I really doing this? Yeah, it is. It's wild to think about.
It's good stuff.
So your Drum Thru Drive In videos, I've got a comment on like just the production of them. Like you're doing awesome with them. Territorial Pissings, I love the whole lead up into it. Who's helping you on the other side of the camera? Because somebody's on the other side of that camera, right?
Somebody's doing most of the work, yeah.
but all in all, they're fantastic. But I'm watching him and I'm like, there's somebody else there with just as much passion as Adam is putting into playing those tracks.
Yes.
And they're like doing a great job. So
yeah. That's my friend Billy Skelly, and I've known that guy for quite a while.
Billy, okay, yes. Yeah.
So you know who Billy Skelly is, yeah. So that is the man behind the curtain when it comes to all that channel.
Oh shit. That's awesome. That is super awesome. Because yeah, I've seen a lot of Billy's work, his photography, everything, and it's like top notch. So as soon as you said that, it's like that makes a crap ton of sense. Like to have that.
He'll be really happy to hear that, man. I'm gonna tell him that you knew exactly who I was talking about when I said his name. I didn't even have to sit and mention his work. I just mentioned his name. That's
absolutely
great.
So I got a question. Like, where does your talent come from? Were you trained classically, or was it something that you just kind of picked up, like it was a natural thing for you?
I would say, in terms of classically, when I was 9 years old, I think I learned hot cross buns on cello. So that's as far as that's the extent of my classical training. But it runs in the family. Music and artistry, like you know, drawing and singing and playing guitar and all that stuff. It runs in the family. A lot on my mom's side and also a little on my dad's side. And I did train and learn at MI as well when I was in my mid-20s, early to mid-20s. I did go to Musicians Institute out in Hollywood, and I could drum before that, and I had the passion for it, and I had been drumming at that point I joined in 2005, so I've been drumming for, I don't know, 6-7 years already, just as an amateur. And but like that school really tore me down and built me back up, as far as like really getting down to the nitty gritty of, dude, you want to play drums for a living? This is what you need to know to survive as a drummer.
Mm.
So, you know, it was some, you know, in the blood, and also I pushed forward with schooling too, to kind of help solidify what I love to do, you know.
Well, quality drummers have a different way of thinking, because, you know, to be able to just jump in and pick up with it, like a band, like what you've played with Seether, Avenged Sevenfold, and a few others, like to be able to jump in knowing not even if you knew their music, but to be able to jump in and play their music is a whole different thing. So that's a certain mentality or a way of thinking, I would think.
Yeah. I mean, some people just kind of boil it down to, you know, the singer and the guitarists, they're musicians, and the drummers are just jocks, right? They're not musicians. I don't know if you ever hear that, but a lot of people kind of assume all drummers are jocks. And I'm not a jock, but I mean, I did play sports when I was a kid. By the time I was halfway through junior high, I was done with sports, but I'm not a big dude, you know. I'm not the you know, troublemaker you see on the Archies or anything like that, you know, jock wise, where you know, the big guy picks on the little dude. I've always been the scrawny little dude, so even when I was into sports. But
Same.
Yeah, I think you're in present company with all of us, but
Yeah.
Good.
no,
good.
I was gonna ask you though. I mean, you've come up through the LA scene pretty much your whole life, right? Like you've been an LA boy. your whole
Yeah,
life.
yeah. I'm
So
from Los Angeles, yes.
That's the beauty of SoCal. Like I take shit from these guys all the time because I'm here in SoCal as well. I'm in Huntington Beach, and
Oh,
so
awesome.
being in the SoCal scene, we've had access to probably more than most of the country for the punk scene, and just like the culmination of all of it. That has to play some kind of a role in how interested you were in the music you got into and the drumming.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Because I mean, um, obviously everyone around the world loves punk, but at the same time, we all love it in different ways, and the same way too, in different ways. But for me, when I discovered um, punk, or when I started listening and digging deeper and finding more SoCal bands, right, that were OC and LA and stuff like that, it really did feel like this is the music of Southern California to me. You know what I mean? It made me feel like this was the kind of music that I really love, and it's part of where I grew up. It was like part of basically I just saw it as part of my culture of growing up in SoCal.
It's that
Straight up.
hometown connection. Yeah, it's that hometown connection. I just
Exactly.
had Voodoo Glow Skull sing "Happy Birthday" to me a couple months ago,
Oh wow.
and I will tell you that was the most mind blowing experience because here's Voodoo, who's from right fucking here,
Yeah.
and it was all it's a big deal. I'm an old guy, so I pine back to the younger stuff, and that feeling of this local band is giving back to the community, giving back to its people and its fans. And yeah, so I know that SoCal influence is strong.
Yeah, and to the point that you're touching on, it really does have to do, like me being from LA or being in SoCal really does have to do with even joining these bands, because it's like, as good as a drummer that they might think I am, how would they even know I existed if I wasn't close enough? You know what I
Yep.
mean? And yeah, it's true. It's true. It's almost like, because I'm from here, it's like it is a privilege as far as being connected into the punk scene.
I imagine there's an off-stage presence when it comes to working with the Dickies, Leonard specifically. But it seems like it's hurting cats when you watch them live. So, what's it like for you?
I mean, we basically know each other pretty well now. It's been, with the exception of Ben, our latest guitarist, it's been this lineup for, let's see, me, Eddie, Stan, and Leonard. We've been in the band all together for almost 10 years now. And then Ben came in, I think maybe 5 years ago. And we've done a fair amount of touring since then. So, we know each other well, and we kind of know each other's habits, and we know we're all kind of crazy. And we're all kind of nuts in different ways, you know what I mean?
But anyway, Stan and Leonard, they're the only two original members left, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're the only guys that can get the discount at Denny's.
But you guys take advantage of that on the road, right?
We do. Stan loves to get his tilapia, and Leonard gets his eggs and bacon, and we're all happy. But yeah, they're the only two original members. Eddie Tatter, that is from DI and played in another like thrash metal band called Aversion back in the day. He has been with the Dickies for about 11 years, and I joined about a year and a half right after him. He actually brought me into the band, and I brought Ben into the band. So basically, to answer your question, to touch back on it, backstage on tour is a different backstage setting, as opposed to, we have a one-off show in Santa Ana, or we're all meeting up to play this one show and we're all driving back. It's different, because you're not having to put up with each other every day. And I wouldn't really say put up with each other. I mean, we all have weird little spats here and there, and sometimes it gets wild, but I mean, So what?
It's like
It's a period.
family. You're not
Yeah,
getting along
yeah.
all the time. It's impossible.
No, no.
Well, so we've talked to other artists that have taken over for other dead Kennedys bands, and you get into it's kind of my question kind of falls into, you're not the originals, and the punk industry as a whole, like you've got a lot of really old, gatekeepers that will fall into that. Well, it's not the original guys, so it's not the same band. Like, do you deal with that on the regular, like being out there and being touring and doing what you're doing? Do you deal with the guys that are like, well, you're not the original, so we're just not even going to give you the credit that you deserve for what you do?
I would say in my experience, no. And, I know that's not everyone's experience for sure, but at least in my personal experience, I know that I don't really experience that. I actually don't think, well, maybe I've had one instance where, one guy came up to me, he was about to talk to me, and he's like, oh, no, you're not an original member, and walked away. But it's not something that's hurtful, because it's like, well, you're right. You're absolutely right. If I was that guy, I wouldn't go about it the same way, but I may not want to talk to me. I mean,
Yeah.
who cares?
Yeah,
don't think
but everything I've seen with you with the Dickies, every video I've seen of every live show, like you've created your own energy within the Dickies, where I feel you're a true, like, contributing and like driving member of the Dickies now. Like, I
man.
I honestly kind of feel like if they didn't have you helping drive this machine, yeah, still stand and whatnot, but like, could it have that same effect? And one thing I've noticed is, the Dickies are the Dickies. They'll dress however they want in that, but you, sir, are dapper as fuck every single time. Every single time you're sitting there, you got your bow tie, and where did that come from? Where did you decide that this is who I am, this is what I'm doing?
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for the compliment there. That's and
Cheers, man.
the bow tie compliment too. But you talking about as an artist standing my own, having my own, not just so much persona, but having my own weight in the band. To me,
Yeah.
that's important for any band member, dude. I mean, not so much for job security, just the fact that you're an artist as well.
Yeah.
And
you have a part of this. You're not just
Well, you bring a
something that.
technicality to it that I haven't heard from the Dickies before you, be quite honest.
Mhm.
well, that's nice to hear, man. I'm glad. I'm glad. I mean, that they've had a couple other drummers that were MI drummers, to be honest. But yeah, I try my best to either emulate the past recordings or the past live recordings that they have, until they let my leash loose a little and say, hey, Adam, come up some with this, or try doing this, or
Yeah.
do what you do for here. And then it's like, oh, okay, fuck yeah. Now I can bring not just the skills of emulating and deciphering and transcribing what was done before, but now I can have that as a base, and at will choose where I can deliver strategic and artistic movements within the drums. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm lucky to have that. And let's see, your last question was, where did the bow tie come from?
Yes.
So the bow tie came from me having my first official show with them, with the Dickies, and it was House of Blues in Anaheim. And it was the same day my sister got married. And my wife Stacy, which we were dating at the time, we both went, and I was dressed up in the bow tie and everything, and I had told my sister, I go, you know what, like, I have the show, I have to be there like at 7, or I have to leave at 7. I can't remember. I go, but we're going to the wedding, we're going to the what do you call the thing after the wedding? Reception.
The reception. Yeah.
we're going to the reception, but I can't stay like the whole time. You know, I'll only be able to spend an hour or 2 hours, and we've got to have to split. So we split, and we got the House of Blues, and I had a change of clothes in my backpack, and I had like black clothes, just like black jeans, black shirt. Like I was prepared to not stick out because I knew this was like my first show with them, and I'm the new member, so that's standing out enough. So I'm like, yeah, I don't need to stand out anymore. So let me just wear background clothes, right? So I have it in my backpack, and we're walking backstage, and we run into Stan, and Stan kind of stops, like, and looks me up and down, like, "You wearing that?" I go, no, I got to change your clothes in my backpack. And he goes, no, keep it on. It's good. Keep it on. So I did, and then that kind of turned into like, at least for me, it's like, wow, that was weird, and like that didn't fit for a punk rock show. I like that. I like that it didn't fit.
It totally
Yes.
fits for the Dickies though, because it's everybody's like an odd man out. Everybody has their own thing. It's always been a thing with them. It's always everyone's
Yeah,
had style.
So I'm glad it was I like that happenstance, you know, that it occurred that way. So now I really do have my own you know, style.
Now,
And,
where does all that heat and sweat go underneath all of that when
It's there, bro, but the shirt's white, so you can't see it.
That's
There.
Not
And
until
people ask me
laundry
that a lot.
day.
Yeah.
Not until laundry day.
And then he
that's
shows
the
up on
question a
our
lot of people
interview.
ask.
Then he shows up on our interview with the ska shirt. So I mean,
Yeah.
it plays all right.
There you go. But yeah, a lot of people ask about the sweat, like, man, how do you drum in that? It's like, dude, no matter what I'm wearing, I'm gonna sweat my ass off. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to sweat.
Yeah.
Now we're all dads here. I hear you're a dad.
Yes.
So how new or old of a dad are you?
So my daughter is going to be 5 this October. So
Oh,
I've
that's
been a dad for 4.5 years, yeah. And just one kid, one child, and she is wild. No, I mean, she's a great kid, but she's also wild, which I appreciate. It's, you know what I mean? As a parent, that's hard on us, but there's certain things that you see that are like a little on the wild side, but is a good thing for her or him, as they grow up. It's like, yeah, she's going to need that, or he's going to need that, or that's good that she's that way, because when she's older, that's going to benefit her. But right now, it's killing my back and I'm tired. And why is she doing it? You know what I mean?
You see that kind of energy, you have to figure out how to harness the negative into a positive.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true, man. That's 1,000% true. You can't see that relentless energy or stubbornness and just think it's negative and try and smother it. You know what I mean? You can't. I mean, plenty of parents do that, and I think that's fucked up. But
yeah,
I see it the way you see it. If you can find, as a parent, we need to guide that energy towards something positive and right. You don't want to get rid of that kind of energy they have, man. You got to help them find a way to use it constructively, and that's a huge advantage to them when they grow up, I believe.
You're in the right place, because we are literally a group of, what is it? It's 6 of us, right? And all of us came together.
Yep.
We've all come together through online groups that were punk rock dads. And that's how we found each other. And that's how we created what we've created. That's how we've all gotten so close. And I think every one of us has a little different approach, but we all kind of come back to the same thing with our kids. We all kind of try to find that unique energy that makes our kids what they are. I've got 4 kids, and Johnny's got 2, and Trevor's got 2, right?
Yeah.
So we're all, and our other guys.
I had to walk away from both of them tonight.
I think
do
in
it.
our group, I have the most, but it's the energy and the style and the independence that we build with our kids that I mean, really, to me, that's what punk is. We've found this way to harness what society seems as negative. We find a way to take that and make a positive out of it and let them explore and do what they do. So yeah, you talking about, that taking that energy and channeling it into the right things. It's 100% what I think we're all about.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we can even take a wrong turn obviously, because we're all human, we can take a wrong turn as parents, but basically what I want to say is, some people ask like, oh, are you going to train her to be a drummer or, that kind of thing. And I tell them, no, I'm not, because she's her. I'm me. I drum. My dad didn't drum.
Yeah.
He didn't force me into the trade that he knows, which he could have, you know what I mean? But I mean, I don't know how my brain would work at that point when I'm grown up. And maybe I'll think back and like, Dad, you didn't let me figure out what I wanted to do. You made me learn, what you wanted to do. And I don't know, who knows? And sometimes kids don't think that way. Sometimes they just kind of go along with the program and just live life not questioning it, and that's fine. But chances are my daughter is going to question things the way I did when I was young. You know what I mean? It's just a thing, a knack, a knack that some people have and some don't.
And touching on that, Adam, where you were saying like, we don't want to force our kids into doing something they really don't want to do. Like, I went out, I bought a guitar for my son. I have not pushed it on him yet. I've shown it to him. He knows it's his. If he wants to play it, it's all for him. But he also knows he needs to want to play it. And if if he asks Daddy to show him how to play it, I'll show him how to play as best I can show him how to play. I'm not a teacher, but I'll definitely show him how I can play. And but I'm not gonna force it on him because it's up to him.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I played in punk rock bands for years way back. I got a kid who's like, "What's that noise?" It's like, "Oh, okay, cool." Thanks, Boomer.
Yeah. And chances are, maybe my daughter might be like that. I don't know. But I mean, from time to time, I'll put on records on my record player, be it, stuff that's not punk or is punk. And, so every now and again, she'll want to hear it. She'll like it. I'll have on GBH. I think I have the Momentum record on vinyl, which is the latest one they put out.
Nice.
And she wanted to put it on. I'm like, okay. And I put it on, and, it's the guys playing GBH. It's GBH, and she's jumping up and down dancing. I'm like, all right, that's cool.
Have they come to see you? Come to see Daddy play?
She has.
Oh, cool.
Or you're asking if she's seen me play.
Nice.
She has, and it's, to me, it's a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
For her, she kind of just is looking around a little serious, trying to figure out what the deal is and why all these
big old earphones on.
Yeah, the big old isolation phones, and it's beautiful when I can get my family out to see the shows, because it shows your kids a peek into those special moments, so they kind of understand a little bit. Oh, this is where it all leads to, when Dad's making a ton of noise in the garage, or he can't stop tapping on the table and Mom's telling him to shut up or stop. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this is why. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
All right.
I got a couple kids.
Or Daddy's gone for the weekend. This is what Daddy's doing.
I got a couple kids, and it's like, stop hitting him with the dog, son. Use a cat like a normal person.
But yeah, another point, like you said, when Daddy's gone, that's that does help, because she understands what's going on. And the times that I have left, I tell her, I'm going on a plane. I'm gonna play concerts with Uncle Leonard and Uncle Stan and Uncle Eddie and Uncle Ben, and we're this is like our other job. My one job is right here close to the house, kind of, and this is my other job. So yeah, it does help when they get to see what that job is and what it means.
Oh, for sure.
So I gotta ask, what's the other job? What do you do for a living outside of music?
I do accounting. I sit on my ass in front of a computer.
Wow.
And I look at all the money that's coming in. I look at all the money that's going out, and I chase companies that owe us money. And that's basically what I do. During the
Stuff
decade.
you could actually take on the road with you if you had to. I mean, you could, if you had some downtime, which is not often when you're on the road, but
Yeah, no, but you are right. It's most of my job I can do remotely, given the proper equipment, you know what I mean?
Right.
Electronics can be so iffy,
Yeah.
but yeah, you are right. I can do that.
So talking about being a parent, being a touring musician, how is that with you and your family? Like, do you guys find it hard at times, or is it pretty smooth? Like, I'm not digging for personal anything, just is it all right?
No, that's a good question, because that is a question that people that haven't toured yet, that are aspiring to, should know. You know what I mean? It's
Yes.
And at least in my experience, there's ups and downs with that. You know what I mean? Especially having a child. If we had 2 or 3, geez, I don't even.
Right.
I don't know. How
Do you
crazy-
want to leave your wife with the 3 kids while you're gone for a week, 2 weeks?
Be happy
a month?
about that. That's an important question.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's ups and downs with that, man. Because it's just like sometimes, like once you have a tour planned,
Mhm.
and it's all okayed and it's going to happen, it's like, okay, well, basically no matter what other everyday things that can happen around that and bleeding into those dates, what do you do?
Can't-
You're
yeah.
like this, you know what I mean? But it is tough, and it takes some pretty difficult trying to keep things equal in a way. I mean, as much as they should be, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Family will come first, and your work slash a hobby slash passion, slash extra income or whatever comes second. And depending on what stage you are in that career, passion, hobby, you kind of have to do a lot of tug of war, to actually let it exist or even keep it existing. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's tough, man. It's a tough thing, being a family man or a father, and still being a touring musician. But on the other hand, it's not with everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Joe and Eddie, the Tatter brothers, they're both in DI. Their dad, that was his one gig, man. He's a piano player, singer guy, and he played, Americana songs and standards and Dixieland stuff. He did that almost every night, and that's what kept bread and food on the table. Solely that, as far as I remember from what Eddie tells me. So some people are fortunate enough in that sense, but it seems like this day and age, man, if you're a touring musician, you've got to be gone most of the year if you want to put bread on the table that way.
But you're
That's
fortunate to have the California area, so when you tour, you don't have to go too far for quite a few gigs, really.
Yeah, that's true.
And screw you guys from California. I'm over here in Florida. We don't get shit.
I'm up here in Canada, dude. Come on.
No, you're not in Canada. You're in remote Canada. So it's a whole different story.
I'm not in remote Canada.
Oh, come on. How many shows come through your district?
Well,
Remote Canada.
Teenage,
Remote Canada.
Teenage Bottle Rocket's playing London next week.
Oh, that's right.
And that's an hour away from me, so that's not that remote.
I love that band, dude. Teenage Bottle Rocket. I think over the past year I got into them, and I love them.
We've had Ray and Chuka on, so
yeah, we still have to put out Chuka, but but yeah, no, we've had both of them on. They've been great guests.
How many episodes are you guys behind?
No comment.
No comment.
No comment.
No comment.
The big thing about being punk rock dads, right?
We're busy as fuck.
We have lives outside of what we do, and I think that's part of the charm of what we do. It was hilarious because even before I came into this interview, my wife and I were like, "Man, we haven't been out on a date in fucking months." So I was like, why don't we go hit happy hour? I got an interview anyway, so we'll just go hit happy hour. I'll like lube myself up a little bit to be personal again. And we're sitting at the bar, and the guy next to me, I'm telling my wife, she goes, "Oh, don't you have to go?" And I go, "Yeah, I got to get to that interview." And the guy next to me goes, "Interview for what?" And I go, "Oh, yeah, we're interviewing the drummer for the Dickies." And he was like, "No fucking way." And he was a fan, and he was like doing stuff. And he's like, "Yeah, man, the weirdest thing is my neighbor was Gabby from the Cadillac Tramps." I'm like, "No way, dude. I just started doing the merchandise for the Cadillac Tramps." And it turns into this whole conversation, and you start getting into this. And then you go, fuck, man, life is like nonstop when you're a punk rock dad, because you've got the business, and you've got the kids, and you've got the family, you've got the music,
and you got the passion,
and then the interview and everything else. So no, I get it.
Yeah, you get it. But I mean, with that being said, so should we move forward with this interview? And me, everything I mentioned would be like as if we're in the year 2023.
I'm gonna hope Trevor and Johnny
today, July 11th,
Today's day.
2023.
Wait a minute, that Stern thing just fire off. That's where we're all.
We are interviewing Adam Gomez of the Dickies. I think he's still in the Dickies, right? Yeah.
Ryan Gosling from Blade Runner 2045. Welcome to Rules of the Pit.
All right. Since the Dickies love to do cover, I don't think there's an album that they don't have a cover on it. There's always a cover, always, if not 2 or 3. And that's the fun part with the Dickies is you never know how it's going to end up. It comes out and it's like, wow, that's what y'all did with that. That's kind of fun because the humor is part of it, which. Going back to some controversy that happened with Leonard, because was about 3 or 4 years ago, where someone caught some feels about how the Dickies.
Yeah, that was the last one, yeah.
Right. But it's the humor of it, right? That you really have to tongue in cheek that and get that it's just all in fun. So where does that leave you? Because you're back there,
yeah.
Everybody on time, and then you got to put up with the weirdness up front. So. Where do you fit in with that contribution of weirdness?
I just have to be solid as fuck, man. As far as trying to keep my cool, because sometimes things happen at the edge of the stage, and you have to kind of remember, like, okay, well, I'm the drummer for the Dickies for a reason. And it's not so much to get off the drum set and go stop a fight or, any of that
just
stuff.
Keep going.
Yeah, but depending on the situation, but for the most part, it's like you just kind of have to keep going. You may have to stop, but it's like you really have to be solid as a rock as far as like making a judgment call. And
yeah, is the song gonna come back from this, or are we done?
If some weird shit happens, you just have to make up a beat for it. There just has to be a beat for what's going on.
Yeah, so that's basically where it leaves me, and I'm not like Leonard and I on stage are complete opposites, right? I mean, our roles are complete opposites as well, but even our personalities, I guess, it's because of our roles, but yeah, I mean, I have to be the silent guy, driving the train and conducting the train, and he's the dude, with his head and fist out the window, yelling profanities. And you know what I mean? If I don't keep the train rolling, he can't do that. So
it's true.
He's the train robber. He's the train robber, and he needs to facilitate.
Yeah,
he's hanging on the side of the train.
Got to keep the train moving so he can rob every fucking passenger.
Yeah. And there's been times like over the years, especially on the road and spending a lot of hours in the van together. We'll all get into our little things here and there, but even Leonard told me one time, he's like, I need to remember how he said it, but it wasn't verbatim, but basically he said, he was most scared of me because of how calm I am all the time.
Like there's a truth to that, even in the streets.
Yeah, because through the years, one of us will get into it with one another here and there to some degree, just just because, you know, we might be messing with each other and it goes a little far or whatever, or it just keeps going. And then one guy gets annoyed, the other guy wanted him to get annoyed because it's funny, and then it just kind of, you know, things happen, especially when you're in a one vehicle for hours with the Dickies nonetheless. So
Yeah.
you know, I've always tried to keep my cool, especially in the van. And you know, like I tell other people, it's like, well, that's why I play drums, you know what I mean? Because any frustrations or things I have, I just really just take it out on the drums, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, you've got the built-in therapy right there, right? Like
Yeah.
you're having a rough day, or you need to really like iron shit out. You go to your garage and you iron that shit out, right?
Yeah, you know, and that's basically how it is for me. Is I bash the shit out of the drums when need be, you know what I mean?
Now you guys have what are the newest EP, right? A 7-inch with a couple songs on it.
Yeah. The newest one is Gary Glitter Getaway.
Yep.
And that's got a Gary Glitter Getaway, and it also has I Want to Hold Your Hand. So we've got a Beatles cover on that.
Always
that one.
Nice.
See, that's my favorite. My favorite will always be, and that goes back because Banana Splits. You know that as a kid, I actually got to watch that show. So when I first heard the Dickies do that, I was like, oh, it's like this nostalgia thing takes over, and of course, then you have to dig into everything Dickies. So, what is your favorite Dickie song before you started playing drums?
I would say Booby Trap.
Nice.
Yeah, that one is on, I think, 2 records. It's on Second Coming. I think it made its way onto the Killer Klowns EP as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that song. I just love the riff. It just, you know, there's no count in, there's no guitar intro, there's no intro, just bah, da, 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 and it's like that melody, just this cool kind of, you know, creepy vampire kind of vibe. And then the organs come in too. It's just like, oh, dude, I don't know. I love it. It's my favorite.
Just the thing about Dickies always had that very like they always kind of build as like bubblegummy, but they have a classic sound, like classic punk sound.
It's a theatrical hit to it. It's got
Yeah.
the classic sound with the theatrical hit to it.
Yeah, and that's always the fun part of it. You go to a Dickies show, you're gonna have fun, no matter what happens.
Yeah, and I like that about, you know, playing with these guys. And even though shit gets weird and crazy sometimes, you know, with controversies over the years or whatever, what have you, it's like the main point is for us to be good so you guys can have fun and get your money's worth. You know what I mean? That's really like how the whole band sees it, you know. We don't try and put up any kind of front like, oh, it's punk rock, who gives a fuck if we don't play well. And that's fine. That's fine and dandy and all. You know, I mean, I get that, but you know, when we hit the stage, that's not our frame of mind. Our frame of mind is, okay, are they going to get their money's worth? Are they going to have fun? Are we going to have fun? You know.
Now, what does Adam do for fun when he's not drumming and accounting?
What else do I find fun? Well, I mean, it as you know, being a dad, it's like, well, what else can you do? There's no time for anything
Sleep.
else. Yeah, sleep, or run around with your kids.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I do have. I mean, when I think of having free time, like right now, like my wife and daughter are gone out of state, and this happened last time I did an interview.
Yes, yes, totally.
So they're gone now. So it's just me and Tootsie again, just like last time. And when I get free time, I start thinking what else I can do musically. I don't really I don't draw anymore. I used to be a great drawer. I was very good at ink, just ink or just pencil, lead drawings and stuff like that. I was very obsessed with that into my teenage years. But I just think of things I can do musically now, and maybe what I can do with my channel, Drum Thru Drive In. What can I cover? What can I plan with Billy? Just stuff like that, man. Just basically music. Like I have this concept in this project I want to start that I haven't started yet, and I've been thinking about it for at least 3 years now, and I don't want to go into the details because I think it's creative, and I don't want anyone to like smash my balls on it and be like, ah, that's all right, whatever. I'd rather them do that
or
when it's
steal
done.
the idea.
Absolutely, that would absolutely suck.
Yeah.
But like once it's done and figured out and written and recorded and put out, that's when I'm okay with anyone tearing it down and talking
Yeah.
shit or liking it or hating it or whatever. Like, you're free to do that with the piece of art I just put out. I'm totally fine with that. But it's not birthed yet, so it's like I kind of have to keep it.
I will say, and I don't think any of my cohorts here will disagree with me, when that is ready to launch, we would be more than excited to have you back on to talk about just that.
Oh,
Oh,
hell yeah.
I love that. And although it's not exactly punk rock genre, I guess I can say it'd be in the rock genre.
That doesn't matter to us. Like, I'm an
Okay.
artist, I'm a merchandise designer, like I do apparel and merchandise, all that kind of stuff. And to me, like the frame of art spans such a wide arena. Like, we do stuff with so many different people that, and I know these guys, whether we're punk rock or not, the appreciation of the arts for the people that support the industry, regardless of what it attaches to, we would love to help promote you when you're ready.
I got Ray Charles records and Lena Horne over here.
Dude, yeah, I've got like, if you saw half of what was in this stack here, you'd go, that dude's not punk rock, because none of this shit is. All the punk rock stuff's over here. All
Hey,
the
man.
other stuff's over here.
Hey,
Well,
man,
totally
Tina
agree.
Turner is punk rock, all right?
She's here somewhere.
She's
Where's
bad.
T? Yeah, she's here somewhere.
Definitely got that attitude, that punk rock attitude.
Oh yeah.
Well, Adam, it's been an absolute pleasure. I don't want to keep you a whole lot longer. We
Okay.
do, however, have our typical 3 questions that we ask every guest that we have. We started calling it a lightning round. It's not usually a lightning round because it's never fucking fast.
We can make it back.
But I'm gonna kick it off. Out of any of the bands you've been listening to recently, what would be one that you just want to like give some extra love to, whether it's like maybe an up and coming band, or maybe it's one of the bands that everybody fucking loves, but you're just totally into them right now and you just want to give them some love? Who would that be?
I would say 3 right now. I would say Teenage Bottle Rocket, that we already mentioned.
Yeah.
I've been loving those guys the past year. Fat Heaven, which is another punk rock band that you guys should check out if you haven't. It's great
Definitely.
band. They're a 3-piece. Been loving their stuff. And the Queers. I always get stuck on them, man. I mean, they're good friends, but they haven't always been friends. I haven't known them forever. I haven't known Joe forever and Alex and the guys, Hoglog. But once I start listening to a Queer song, it's like, all right, put on the Queers playlist that I made. Just let it repeat for a while. So I'd say those 3 bands.
So before we move on to the next one, Adam, I'm going to give you got to go check out the Mercy Fucks, because one of the members of the Queers is in the Mercy Fucks, and they've just released on a very close friend of ours, Little Lost Girl Media up in Portland. Mercy Fucks are just releasing their new album through her. It's a very small DIY, kind of tight knit, but their music is about to come out. And if you like the Queers, I think you're going to fold right into the Mercy Fucks.
Okay. Awesome. If you can send me, man, like message me, find me and message
Yeah, we'll
me.
get it to you. I'll get it over to you. It's
Yeah,
awesome
absolutely.
stuff. Athena would be stoked to have you check it out.
Yeah, dude.
Totally. I'll hook you
So
guys
second
up.
question, I'll roll right into the second question. Being what we are, we like to support nonprofits and organizations that we think are helping the community or something else. What is one cause or nonprofit or social group that you would promote right now? Like, who, if you could tell anybody, pay attention to what's happening in life right now,
Yeah.
who would you push for that?
I would say right now at the moment, punk rock saves lives.
Yeah.
Great organization.
Yeah. You know, I think something like that is helpful from time to time, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's someone I would show some love to right now too and mention.
Yeah, Rob and Tina
Excellent.
do a lot for the community.
Excellent.
Absolutely. Beautiful.
All right,
John-
and being that we are rules of the pit, one of the number one rule of the pit is when someone falls, you help them up. So what would, to going along with that mind frame, what would be Adam's rule for his pit?
I don't know. That's a tough one. Mandatory food and drink.
Mandatory food and drink.
Yeah.
Keep it fueled and keep it wet. I got you.
Yeah, you know how quickly it can go bad when you got food and drink in the pit. So
So Adam, parting moments. What's coming up for the Dickies or for you, or what do you want to promote? What do you want us to promote for you? What do you want us to say and give out to the public to help you do what you do?
For
Well, right now-
for 2023.
2023.
Runner 2045. I would say for the most part right now at the moment, I've been growing my own YouTube channel for the past year and a half, and I love it. And that's what we were talking about earlier with Billy Skelly doing all the video production and editing. It's called Drum Thru Drive In. So I just do a whole bunch of drum covers. Here and there, I'll put out like a drum tip or a drum story of being on tour. And that I'm growing on my own with Billy as the editor. So, you know, I would say for the most part, if anything, you know, you guys check out Drum Thru Drive In on YouTube. And in
Absolutely.
addition to that, there's the Dickies. You know, we have a show coming up in, I think, 2 weeks in Venice, in LA. And we have a tour that, as far as I know, is going to still happen in November with Black Flag and TSOL and Total Chaos. So that's like a US tour.
Nice.
So that's like 6 weeks ago. Just for everybody who's watching.
Get out your history books, ladies and gentlemen. Turn to
Adam,
page.
I'll tell you, if you pull Black Flag and TSOL through Orange County, my ass will be front and center. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay. That is a good show, I must say.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but you know, there's always Dickie stuff going around, and you know, I would say number one right now for me is Drum Thru Drive In, and that's a really special thing to me that I've been working on, that I'm always thinking about, and is really fun, and it's getting even more fun the way we're starting to edit and add things to, you know, these songs and videos, at least just video wise, not so much drum wise, because I'm always trying to play the song that I'm covering exactly the way it's played and performed on the original recording. So yeah, Drum Thru Drive In, man.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah, man.
That's
I've-
awesome.
I've personally like been watching it for a while, and your territorial pissings video, I fucking love that. I love the production of it. Everything was just on point. Watching some of your tips and stuff, like,
And I can
Thank
say, from the least musically inclined person of our entire group, because all these guys can play an instrument. All these guys have been in bands. And I've never done that. I managed a band in high school. I was a fucking scrub. But music to me has always been such an emotional connection. Watching the stuff for you that Trev sent to me was fucking amazing. Like, it was like, it's this otherworldly, like, understanding of, as a graphic designer, I can sit on a computer and I can fuck with whatever I do, and I don't think about it. But when you look at somebody else's craft that's very similar to yours but in a different genre, you can appreciate watching your stuff, dude. Is like, it's a whole different, like, oh my god, this guy's amazing at what he does because he understands it, he gets it, he knows the changes and the adjustments, and it's a weird feeling for me, but it's so amazing, and it's so cathartic to watch, because it takes me out of my element, puts me in somebody else's element, even if I can't do it, to appreciate what they do.
That's awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Kind
Sure. Thank you.
Well, Adam, you've been a fucking sport with us tonight, and I appreciate you busting my balls on the timeline and whatnot. It's been a blast, man. Every time I talk to you, it's great. You're such a great dude. Thank you from all of us at Rules of the Pit for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.